49ers took them out of it at the end of the first half.
There's some truth to that.
Yes, there is. Packers took an early 6-0 lead, but the Niners with 17 unanswered points, and Jeff Wilkins to kick off as the second half gets underway from Green Bay. Good kick. Dorsey Levens at the goal line. And out past the 20 and run out of bounds by Dedrick Dodge up at the 30-yard line. And let's check in with Lynn Swan. Lynn?
Al, I talked to Mike Holmgren about the second half, and he said he's got to get Brett Favre more protection. In order to do that, they're going to get more conservative. He felt he could come in and play a more wide-open offense. Decided in the first half he could not. They're going to keep more people in to protect him, means fewer people out into the patterns. Al?
Fewer people out into the patterns. Try to get a running game going as well, I would assume. They've been unable to do that to this point. At the 29-yard line, 1st and 10 with Bennett in motion. And Favre going for Beebe, and he's covered by Marquez Polk, who gets there as the ball arrives. And again, if you joined us late, the great receiver Robert Brooks injured early on, sprained knee, gone for the night. So Beebe has seen a lot of action.
Playing this, Pope plays this absolutely perfectly, looking in to Favre and making a quick move on the ball. Beebe, of course, not the Robert Brooks with the moves, but he does have that great speed you have to respect. Pope played that well.
2nd and 10. Try to get something going on the ground. Here's Henderson. Green Bay had only 14 yards rushing in the first half tonight. They pick up 3 on the ground here, 3rd down and 7, and we'll take a look at the numbers through the first 30 minutes of play. The Packers dominating the first quarter, but the Niners dominating the second, and the 49ers have the edge in total yardage.
You can see both teams have scored off of the other team's turnovers, but a stunning turnaround for the San Francisco 49ers, completely outclassed in the first quarter, yet they lead this ballgame.
Earl Dotson being helped out the field puts the offensive line in pretty bad shape for the Green Bay Packers. They've lost John Michaels. They're starting left tackles are on the corners. Dan, they're in trouble.
There's Earl on the right, and what so often happens to an offensive lineman, the pile falls on his leg. He gets his left leg caught in there. Really put in a bad position.
At least he was able to put a little weight on it coming to the sidelines. That's the good news. We'll try to get a further report. But the offensive line for the Green Bay Packers is truly hurting.
Bruce Wilkerson comes in to replace Dotson, and Favre throws, and it's Antonio Freeman who makes a rolling catch up at the 42-yard line on a key 3rd down.
Well, they really need Antonio Freeman to step up like he did a week ago with the 7 receptions and the 2 touchdowns against Chicago. He's a fine receiver with good speed, very acrobatic. But with Brooks out of the game, they are going to need a lot of Antonio Freeman here in the second half.
First and 10 at the 41-yard line. Early 3rd quarter, 49ers lead by 11. They're trying to set up a screen. Dolman chasing Favre, and Brad turns it into a nice little game before stepping out of bounds near midfield.
Speaking of good athletes, and the run away from Dolman is quite a feat.
Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most. The complete line of 1997 Lincoln and Mercury automobiles. And Brewery Fresh Budweiser, who reminds you fresh beer tastes better.
I'm sure Chris Dolman extremely unhappy that he had a free shot at Brett Favre, and Favre got away from him so easily.
7-yard run by Favre to make it 2nd down and 3. And then Freeman can't maintain possession of it. Incomplete, covered by Drakeford right in front of Seifert.
Well, that's one I'm sure Freeman feels he should have had. And that was for 1st down yardage. Take a look again. Going against Drakeford. Breaks to the outside. Ball is right there. You got to handle that. He's better with the acrobatic catches. He had a couple of super receptions against the Bears a week ago. Blows an easy one.
3rd and 3 from the 48-yard line, and the Niners jump. It was Dolman again. He'll get the momentary sack, but the chances are it's going to be a first down instead.
I don't think that sack is going to hold up, Ral. You're right. I didn't see any movement on the Packer offensive line.
Offside, number 56, defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
The only movement is in the head and the upper shoulders of Brett Favre with an extremely hard count. Not the first time tonight that he's had the 49ers jumping off sides. Watch Favre. Look at the force right there. You can see that he puts into that snap, and it got Dolman. And again, another big first down for the Packers.
From the 47-yard line, Favre throws, and that's incomplete. Keith Jackson got a hand on it, and that's all. Keith, a 50-yard reception in the first quarter tonight.
Well, corner blitz.
Corner blitz by the Niners, Dan, you're right. And that one should have been complete. It was read by Jackson and also by Favre. Just a little low, but one that he also could have handled.
No, it's what you work on all week. Everything executed except the throw and the catch. Everybody else was doing the right thing, and it should have been a relatively easy pickup for the Packers.
Marquez Polk with the corner blitz that time. He's back in coverage here as Bennett swings to the outside, then turns it back upfield. Takes it to the 42. Tackled there by Tim McDonald, setting up a 3rd down and 4.
Boy, this is an important drive, too, for Green Bay. They lost the momentum totally in the second quarter. They've come out. They've been able to move the football. It's a very stubborn 49er defense.
.12:20 left, 3rd quarter, 17-6, 49ers. 3rd and 4 from the 41-yard line. Favre under pressure, gets buried by Lee Woodall.
Timely blitz by the 49ers.
Well, they overload the right side. Favre's right side. Just more people coming than Green Bay has blockers. Favre has to see that. And Woodall coming from his right side. And Favre looks dazed as he comes off the field. He takes one right in the popper from Woodall. Woodall unblocked. Plummer coming as well. And you'd think that Favre would have seen him coming from his right side like that, and yet he gave no indication of seeing Woodall at all.
He caught the helmet right on the face mask.
Woodall looks just like Evander Holyfield.
And that was close to a knockout punch.
Yes, it was. Hendrick floats one that bounces inside the 10, and the Packers cannot down it. Roderick Mullen was down there, and they should have downed it, and could have downed it, but didn't.
They got greedy. They could have downed that at the 5-yard line. They tried to get it closer, and they lost it. Watch this. Right there, you attack it.
That's why that thing's pointed.
ABC's NFL Monday Night Football, brought to you by NASDAQ, providing vital investment information to America's individual investors.
Brett Favre still shaking off the cobwebs on the Green Bay bench as the Niners take possession of the 20-yard line, and Gerbach has not completed 9 consecutive passes as Bardell makes the catch and takes it up to the 27. You know, with Brett Favre, everybody knows about the pain-killing situation. We'll get to that in a second. As Jerry Rice, we look at what he did in the first half. That remarkable catch early on, and then the 2 touchdown grabs. This one, great protection for Gerbach, enables Rice to get free, and then a toe dance on the back line. And then this, at the end of the first half, Jerry Rice catching it in the corner of the end zone to make it 17-6. And Kirby takes it to the 29, where it'll be 3rd and 1. But just to finish on Favre, everybody knows about the pain-killing addiction, the rehab, and all of that. He hasn't been hurt to the extent this year that he would need another painkiller. Now, he is under supervision. He can take them if necessary, but hasn't had to this point this year.
Well, that shot doesn't hurt, Al. You just don't remember it. He is trying to shake it off, too. He's He's just a little foggy. They were concerned. You could tell we've been around long enough, Dan, to know when you're looking at someone with a lot of concern as to whether he's all there.
3rd and 1, and Anthony Lynn, the backup fullback, picks up 6 and moves the sticks. First down at the 35.
Going back to Jerry Rice, though, Alan, I ran into Bill Walsh a few moments ago at halftime out in the hall, and he's been watching Jerry Rice for a long time. Said, how many wide receivers do you know that can take over and dominate a game?
Well, Jerry Rice has dominated a lot of games, and tonight he's playing in his 29th game ever on Monday Night Football, tying Dallas's Randy White for the most appearances on Monday night. On first down, Anthony Lynn picks up 2. And as Dan said earlier, he can play on Sundays as well as Mondays, but when the lights come on, Rice has been absolutely unbelievable. Tonight, a typical Monday night performance for Jerry, who just seems to save his best for prime time. There it is. 30 touchdowns on Monday night alone. He's averaging almost 100 yards an appearance.
You know, and he's never been injured, never been unable to play, going all the way back 12 years ago.
On 2nd down and 7. Terry Kirby up to the 42-yard line, tackled by Mike Pryor.
197 games, I think, that he's played overall, which is truly remarkable, those regular season games.
34 years old yesterday.
Think he'll be elected to the Hall of Fame?
Before he retires.
If ever,
they might lift the 5-year waiting period.
If ever it could happen, he would do it.
3rd down and 3 at the 42. And Gerbach has it knocked down, so the Packers stiffen. Leroy Butler came charging in and got a hand on it, forcing a 49er punt.
Well, Fritz Shermer this time, realizing that he's got to make something happen, give his offensive team a shot, really comes with everybody.
They did so much of that last January in their 27-17 win in the playoffs, and they've been very reluctant, it seems like, to come with the blitz in the first half. Right there they show it.
Nice job by Butler, realizing he wasn't going to get there, going up in the air.
Tommy Thompson kicking, Desmond Howard back to get it.
Well, Howard's going to have room.
43-yard punt, but it's to the short side of the field, and he's tackled up at the 21-yard line. That's where the Packers start their next drive. 8:36 left in the 3rd. San Francisco leading 17-6.
There's thunder and lightning when these two teams fight. The Raiders and the Chargers storm the field on Monday night.
All right, Brett Favre and the Green Bay Packers now at the 21-yard line. They're down by 11. 8:36 left in the 3rd quarter. Favre throws, and it's Freeman making the catch in front of Marquez Pulpin, pulling it in inbounds at the 35-yard line for a first down.
That time, the Green Bay offensive line, which has been hurt. They were Nick coming into tonight. They're very young, Dan, but they know they better protect their quarterback. He gets hit again, he'll be out of there.
Well, he took the big shot from Woodall, and I think that we realized after that throw the cobwebs are gone. Look at that dart by Brett Favre to Antonio Freeman. That's what separates the boys from the men, a throw like that. Brett's a man when it comes to tossing the football.
From the 35-yard line, here is Edgar Bennett with some room up the middle, up to the 41-yard line. McDonald and Plummer make the tackle.
Well, the crowd's starting to come to life a little bit here. Still trailing 17-6. And Jimmy Mack, 15-year pro from BYU, he's next in line if for some reason Favre can't go.
Second and 4, halfway through the 3rd quarter. San Francisco leading by 11.
Here comes an audible by Favre.
I guess he's all right.
Out of a split back set, the short drop, the quick flip, and then dropped by Freeman.
Whoa. Oh, that's 2 Freeman's drop. Both of them would have been for first downs. But I'll tell you one thing about Brett Favre. He read that blitz in advance. They were trying to hide it. He read it, made the call, got the ball there, and it should have been a first down.
Freeman's young. It's only his second year, and he has needed some prodding by head coach Mike Holmgren in the past. Holmgren not shy about getting on him.
Well,
and I think he's got another dose coming next time he visits the Packer sideline. He's got to pick it up.
3rd and 4 from the 41. Blitz again. Here they come. Favre steps away from it, throws, and it's at the 30-yard line.
I don't think he's
got on Beebe.
This will be 6.
The play is still alive. Touchdown.
That is a world-class throw by Brett Favre.
World-class getaway. Threw it back across his body.
The officials are having a major league meeting about this.
He caught it. Was he downed?
I did not see him get touched.
It was a 3rd and 4. It's a touchdown.
It was close.
Pope did reach over in an effort to touch him.
Let's see if he did touch him.
Well, number 23 will come into your shot. Does he touch him?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, he had his hand on his knee. Marquez Pope had his hand on Beebe's knee.
Green Bay gets one.
Another look at it, but from that angle, it looked mighty conclusive that he had his hand on his knee.
Did he even catch it to begin with?
Well, everybody who favors instant replay, they'll zero right in on this play. If it was a catch, it looked pretty conclusive to me that he touched him while he was down.
2-point conversion attempt here. As Favre throws into a lot of traffic, and the officials look around.
Yes.
Now the one guy comes in and says he is in. The line judge, Edgar Bennett, caught it and somehow submarined through for the conversion to make it 17-14.
What a drive. A shaky Favre comes on to get a questionable touchdown, but the Packers are back in this game big time.
Brett Favre on a 3rd and 4, hooking up with Don Beebe, and Marquez Pope can only shake his head, and there he is. Beebe tonight, 4 catches for 132 yards. Pack back in the game, down by 3. Kickoff into the end zone. Run back by Dexter Carter from 2 yards in, and he's tackled at the 26-yard line. And let's go back and take a look at the Beebe catch and run.
All right, here's the tail end of it. Now watch the football in the right arm of Don Beebe. It looked like the football touches the turf, but it's also apparent that Beebe has his right arm underneath it. So you could make the argument, was it a legitimate catch? But there's no question that Marquez Pope touches Don Beebe when he's on the ground. Give Beebe some credit. He sold that by getting up and running.
He sold it. Kirby picks up 4 to the 29-yard line, tackled there by Simmons. And then it's a Green Bay tradition started by Robert Brooks. He got halfway in.
Well, Beebe, a couple of big weeks now. He really put a nail in the Chicago's coffin a week ago with a 90-yard kickoff return. He's having a big night tonight.
A man with great speed, but not much of a vertical leap.
No. 2nd down and 6 from the 29. 6:30 to go in the 3rd. Ted Popson breaks a tackle and then lunges for what might be a first down. Craig Newsom stops him. Very close.
Good body control. Good body control by Popson. He stopped and made Brian Williams miss him. Lowered the shoulder and then fought for a couple extra.
Gives you a lot more bulk than Brent Jones, who is injured and can't play. And right here he shows he's a pretty nifty receiver.
All right.
Not bad on his feet.
Pretty good sized guy to be going that hard one direction and stop that quickly.
3rd and a short 1. And Gerbach with a lean and with the angle is very close. They had to get just across the 35-yard line. and that's where they're going to put the football. And Mark Bright's going to call for time. And Fritz Shermer will wait and see whether it's 4th and an inch or first down. And it's a first down. Mark Bright took a look and said, move the chain. Lambeau Field, where the 49ers were on their way to taking the crowd out of the game, but they're now very much back into it. More than 60,000 looking on tonight. It's the largest crowd in the history of Lambeau Field. And Gerbach on first down guns one into the arms of Popson, and he's into Green Bay territory. First down at the 48-yard line. Kuntz and Robinson stop him.
It's what all really good football teams are able to do. When their front line guy goes down, the backup is able to step up and contribute, and that is the case with Ted Popson, who's filling in for Brent Jones. He's playing big football for the 49ers.
And it was Eugene Robinson, the free safety, roaming the outfield. They were trying to cover Popson with a linebacker. They've been doing it all night. Just a little deep turn in.
There was Brent Jones as Kirby cuts to the outside and then is wrapped up in the arms of the outside linebacker Brian Williams. Again, one of those no-name linebackers. They love Brian Williams, second-year player out of USC, who has come on, and he, along with Kuntz and Wayne Simmons, forming a very potent triumvirate.
Well, Williams started on the outside. That allowed Kuntz to move into the middle to take the place of Fred Strickland, who went to Dallas.
And second down and 8. Gerbach throws over the middle where Jerry Rice hauls it in at the 37-yard line, and enough for the first down. Tackled by Eugene Robinson. We talked about the prudential fact before, the facts in fact with Jerry Rice and all he's done on Monday night. Tonight, 150 TD receptions, counting the 2 tonight. 50 more than the second most in history, Steve Largent, with an even 100. It's incredible.
And what respect he has from his peers. So many of them get films edited, just Jerry Rice's catches, his moves, and study them during the offseason.
From the 37-yard line, Gerbach stepping up, stepping away, going deep, tried to hit Stokes, and he was blanketed by Doug Evans.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, that was a good throw by Gerbach. He threw that ball where he was not going to be picked off. He was in trouble, had to slide out of the pocket, and he just got rid of it. Gave Stokes a chance to catch it, but it certainly wasn't going to be intercepted.
You know, Frank, for a guy that's not really well known for his mobility, this is pretty nifty by Gerbach, running to his left, stopping and throwing right-handed, and look where he puts his football.
One that could have been caught, but not intercepted. Good touch on that ball.
If Elvis Gerbach's confidence was shaken at the beginning of this game, he has it back.
Second and 10 from the 47-yard line.
Reggie finally gets there.
Reggie White, who's been fairly quiet tonight, relatively speaking, gets noisy all of a sudden.
This is the curse of an offensive tackle. You block a guy all night, and then on one play, he gets around the corner, and you're the GOAT. Harris Barton's number 79. He turned his shoulders too much, gave Reggie the corner, and Reggie took it.
And Harris has done a great job on him right up until this point.
Yep, that's
again good coverage downfield. That was he had time to get rid of that ball, Dan.
Third and 13 with Rice in motion. Jerry running a crossing pattern. Now Gerbach coming back the other way. And Elvis fires. It's a dangerous pass, and he's lucky it wasn't picked off. Wayne Simmons was there, and the intended receiver, Popson, had to turn into the defensive back in effect.
And did Elvis take a shot? Gerbach stood there on the sidelines to throw that thing back there, and he got peppered, and there's a Packer down.
Darius Holland was the one that put the shot on him.
Reggie White was his 160 sack in his career.
So Gerbach is okay, but there's an injured Packer.
That's Reggie White chasing Elvis Gerbach.
It was White and Holland unloaded on Gerbach.
And it really, as I look at it, it's really not that bad a hit. I thought Elvis got hit a lot harder than that. It's the two helmets of the two Packers that actually made that collision. You could hear it clear up here in the press box. I initially thought it was Elvis that got hit that hard. It was actually the two Packers. Holland and Reggie White. Watch this again. Watch Holland coming in, number 90, and Reggie White. Holland kind of takes it right on the chin, doesn't it?
They just did a number to themselves.
So there's an injury timeout with 2:32 remaining in the third quarter. The shaken up Packer was Reggie White, but he has gotten up and he's back on the bench right now as the 49ers get set to punt on 4th down. And Tommy Thompson sends one that bounces near the 5 and comes back and is down up at the 11-yard line. So they work on White, but nothing serious, as a couple of the training staff were enjoying a lighter moment with him while we were in commercial. He'll be back. And we look down at Lambeau Field from the Goodyear blimp, Stars and Stripes, on this mid-October night. A much anticipated night in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
It has been a night of big hitting for sure, Al. There have been some violent collisions here tonight.
Now the Packers begin from the 12-yard line, 1st and 10. 49ers up by 3. Far punt fake that throws, and it's nearly picked off by Merton Hanks, who hung back there. Don Beebe streaking down the sideline was the intended receiver.
Well, I think Favre thought that Drakeford had gone for the little hitch that Beebe put on Drakeford, but actually he knew that he had deep coverage from Merton Hanks, and Hanks was right there. He blew this earlier in the game, but this time Hanks was right where he should have been.
If you looked at that,
picked it off.
If you looked at that closely, you could see that Hanks didn't even take one jitter step forward on the pump by Brett Favre. He was all over that.
He had the deep zone. He had made a mistake earlier.
On 2nd down and 10. Dorsey Levens up to the 16-yard line, tackled there by Tim McDonald with a little bit more than 2 minutes to play in the third quarter. Reggie with a sack tonight, now with 160 and a half in his stellar career. 3rd and 5 from the 16. Favre throwing underneath. They'll convert as Desmond Howard makes the catch, takes it to the 29. Tim McDonald makes the tackle, and a big 3rd down conversion for the Packers with 1.5 minutes to play in the 3rd.
Just another little something with Favre. He took everything off that. Just a wonderful touch to really help Desmond Howard catch that football. He really does have it all. But Dan, I think he really is, Al, I think he's really playing a little shaken out there.
And Desmond Howard is actually a participant here now because of that injury to Robert Brooks. Derek Mays was going to be the 4th receiver. Now Desmond Howard has to fill that role.
1st and 10 from the 29-yard line. Favre. Oh, wow. Well, the catch is made by Don Beebe. Big night for Don, the longtime Bill who spent last season with the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, but what another rifle shot by Favre over the man underneath. Just dropped it in there perfectly.
But who's he been working to? Beebe, the last one to Howard. Prior to that, you know, Antonio Freeman is his big play guy, but he's had a couple drops, and you wonder if Brett's lost a little confidence in him.
Right. And he was going to Keith Jackson early on, made that one reception. Also, the 49ers have done a good job tonight taking the running backs out of the passing game. But now they go to the running back, Dorsey Levens, and he takes it up to the 43-yard line.
A little screen back across the field that was read by the 49ers really well, and it was Levens who just turns absolutely nothing into something.
And that will be the final play of the third quarter.
Well, if the Packers are going to come back and take this lead, you'd think that Antonio Freeman is going to have to play a part in it.
End of 3. San Francisco leads at 17-14, and Monday Night Football returns after this from our ABC stations.
I have no comment.
What's that mean? He's off cutting the cheese again.
Well,
what's that mean?
We'll leave that to your imagination as we start the fourth quarter, and Brett Favre on 2nd down and 10 fires, caught by Beebe again. First down at the 49er 33-yard line.
I'll tell you, that's not a normal throw. No one should be able to throw that ball from that position. Moving to his left, he rifled that ball about 30 yards on a string. He is so powerful.
He's actually like backpedaling. He turns all the way around and starts almost backpedaling, throwing that football. You're right, Frank. That's a gift. That is a gift. Brett Favre blessed with a rocket for an arm.
The 31-year-old Beebe, 6 catches for 170 yards tonight. 11 swings to the outside and taken down beautifully by Lee Woodall. Hung right with him. Lee Woodall, another late round draft choice out of Westchester, a safety in college, and one of those picks that doesn't get very much attention, but a guy who wound up as a rookie starter with the Super Bowl champions of 2 years ago.
Well, they just couldn't believe what they got in the 6th round. A safety from a small school starting at linebacker for them as a rookie.
Second and 13, and it's a wobbly duck that was tipped. As he released it, Dana Stubblefield got his hand on it. 3rd down and long. Next week to California we go, to Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, where the Chargers, with a mark of 4-2 and in pursuit of the Denver Broncos in the AFC West, take on the Raiders, the suddenly resurgent Raiders now, who broke off to a 34-0 lead yesterday and beat Detroit, back of a healthy Jeff Hostetler, who makes all the difference in the world for the Raiders.
They are a different team with him, dramatically.
3rd down and 14 from the 37-yard line. Favre off balance against the grain and incomplete, intended for the double-covered Keith Jackson. So it'll be 4th down. And they would be looking at about a 54-yard Chris Jackie attempt, but they will opt for a punt instead.
Jackie's career best actually 54, but the winds are strange here. That was at Detroit, I believe, and indoors, and they're going to count a little on their defense.
And the risk you run if you miss it is that the 49ers take over at the 44-yard line.
And their offense playing a little better than they were in the first quarter when Mike Holmgren, faced with this same situation, went for it.
Hendrick tries to put it into the corner and can't. Into the end zone instead. And there's a look of a guy who just kicked 144 gross, but only 24 net. 13:30 left in regulation.
There's thunder and lightning when these two teams fight. The Raiders and the Chargers storm the field on Monday night.
17-14 San Francisco. The 49ers have it at their own 20 with 13:30 left in the fourth quarter in Green Bay. Elvis Irvine to Tommy Vardell. Gain of 5 up to the 25. If you joined us late, Steve Young not starting tonight. In uniform, though, but the 49ers looking ahead, and there is Young with the baseball cap on, and they hope to be able to keep him out for the next 2 or 3 or even 4 weeks and get him ready for November and December.
One guy who's really fit into this 49er offense Other than that guy, Jerry, Tommy Vardell, he's really having a fine game for San Francisco.
Here he is again. He picks up 2 to make it 3rd and 3. Reggie White, by the way, back in the game. Santana Dotson making the tackle.
Well, he's everything you want for this West Coast offense, being able to block and run with the football, catch it, work out of the backfield. He can do it all. For the most part, they've done a pretty good job on Reggie White tonight.
He's outside on Ted Popson. This time they come out with the short trap. Chris Dahlman gets into the legs of Reggie White.
3rd and 3. Anthony Lynn is in the game at fullback. And it is incomplete. Reaching for it was J.J. Stokes, who has not caught a ball tonight, and Craig Newsome with the coverage.
That's good coverage on the part of Newsome. He was right there.
Stokes didn't have a catch last week against the Rams either, and there were a lot of stories, a spate of stories about how Gerbach was finding his rhythm with Stokes and how Stokes had become his favorite receiver. Say what?
Well, Gerbach gave him a difficult chance there.
Tommy Thompson. Hauled in by Desmond Howard at the 30. Good coverage. Cedric Dodge takes him down at the 30-yard line. Pack starts from there. 12:05 left in the 4th. San Fran by 3.
Desmond Howard on the left behind the official Elvis Gerbach. And I think everybody knows about their history together at the University of Michigan, where Howard won the Heisman. Gerbach set all the passing records. These two guys went to high school together. They were teammates in the same class at St. Joseph High School in Cleveland, Ohio. They go way back.
On first down, the pass intended for Dorsey Levens, a little low and incomplete. 2nd and 10.
Follow-up just on the Gerbach situation with Desmond. Elvis found his way to Michigan because they came down there to recruit Howard, who was a tailback. They took a look at this quarterback who wasn't bad throwing the ball, and Elvis kind of came in the back door. He said Desmond was the tailback. They wanted him desperately, and I kind of just tagged along.
2 of them linked up for 31 touchdown passes at the University of Michigan. 2nd and 10. Far throws. It's caught by Antonio Freeman. That's a 14-yard gain and a first down up at the 44-yard line. Here's a reminder, Monday Night Football is now on the web. You can see a live real-time display from our stats computer, and there is the address at the bottom of the screen, abcmnf.com. Monday Night Football on the web. Green Bay down by 3. 1st and 10 up at the 44-yard line. Far deep. Look at that pass. But Beebe was on the chalk. Out of bounds. Dropped it anyway. Marquez Pope back there with him. Don Beebe, a guy who amazed everybody by making the Buffalo Bills in the first place, amazed everybody by staying there as long as he did, and now looks like as if he's in the prime of his career.
Boy, and that came close to being the whole thing.
And he gave you a good display of that 4.29, 4.3 speed that he still has, as you saw him accelerate right by Marquez Pope, who had excellent position on Beebe.
Favre's thrown for 300 yards tonight, 170 of those to Beebe. 2nd and 10, and they give it to Henderson, and that's a nice hole through the middle, and he takes the ball to the 49 tackled by Barker.
Good changeup going with the draw on 2nd and long. 49ers trying to get to Brett Favre. The chess game plays out. Pete Carroll, the defensive coordinator, has done a terrific job.
Sherman Lewis talking into the headset. They spot it right at the 50, make it 3rd and 4 from the 50-yard line. Pressure on Favre. He has to unload and throws it away. Good pressure by the Niners that time, forcing a punt. 4th down.
You know, at that time they came up the middle and they forced Favre, you know, to move out of the pocket. If you're Pete Carroll, you know, aren't you a little apprehensive because you're putting a guy on the move that's more dangerous on the move than when he's stationary in the pocket?
But they're doing a good job in the coverage, Dan. They're staying with the coverage and still managing to get the force on Brett Favre. They've been doing it all night.
Hentrick the punt. High floating kick. Fair catch called for and made by Carter on his knees at the 11. 10:30 left in the fourth. Still 17-14 San Francisco. So the last time we saw this scene, it precipitated the line from Dan.
Macarena and cheese.
Right.
It's kind of the Lambeau Field version of the 7th inning stretch. They Macarena for 2 minutes.
They've had a little too much rice with their cheese tonight. First down from the 11-yard line. And looking for Stokes. Great coverage again by the Packers as Stokes continues to be shut out. Monday Night Football from Green Bay is being brought to you by Jeep, makers of the new award-winning Jeep Grand Cherokee. Prudential, serving the insurance, healthcare, real estate, and financial needs of 1 in 5 Americans. Brewery Fresh Budweiser, who reminds you fresh beer tastes better. And Visa, the preferred card of the NFL. It's everywhere you want to be.
So now, if you put it in the air, you got to think they're going to try to get it to Rice.
Derek Lavelle is in the game. He gets the football. And the erstwhile starter up to the 12-yard line. And with Lavelle in there right now spelling Kirby. We should also note the 49ers have William Floyd back in uniform tonight. The fullback, the guy who came into the league known as Bar None. There is Kirby. William Floyd on the sidelines, hasn't played tonight, but a remarkable story in and of itself with a horrific knee injury and back a year later.
Totally dislocated. It was amazing that he is back. But if he gets healthy, he will be a factor late in the season. Good receiver out of the backfield.
3rd down and 8. Pressure up the middle and nearly picked off. Gilbert Brown came charging in to put the pressure on.
That's the 2nd time in as many series that Elvis Gerbach has, at the last minute, decided to get rid of the football, throws it into the middle of the field, and almost gets picked off.
That's what you were talking about. Here comes Gilbert Brown. Gilbert Brown is a lot of Gilbert Brown. Blows his way right into Gerbach's face.
Tommy Thompson to punt. Howard back. Good punt. 47 yards. Taken at the 36-yard line. And great coverage by the white shirts. 49ers down and back at the 33-yard line.
George Stewart, the special teams coach of the 49ers, spent 4 years in Tampa Bay. Rightly so, congratulates his guys. Outstanding coverage.
49ers have rarely put a great deal of emphasis on their special teams, but trying to do more of that this year. They've always felt that with their offense and the way their defense would normally play, that was one area that was just never emphasized and never stressed by the 49ers, special teams.
One thing Mike Holmgren talked all week to his club about was being in a tight ball game because they don't have any experience in doing so. They're in one now. We'll see if it paid off.
And Favre throws. It's caught up at the 40-yard line. 8-yard gain. BB again.
You know, win or lose this ball game, I think Holmgren's club will come out of this better off for having at least been in a pressure-packed 4th quarter. You know, not much good comes from losing, no matter what type of a spin you try to put on it, but at least they'll gain some experience there, and of course to win it, a huge plus.
Under 9 minutes to play on 2nd and 2. Levin swings to the outside, so they've been going with Levins in the second half instead of Bennett, and Gary Plummer makes the tackle.
And we have not seen Chimura or Keith Jackson in a long time.
Jackson, of course, had that big play in the 1st quarter, and I think the 49ers realized that they were going to have to make an adjustment to cover Jackson, not with a linebacker, but with somebody more able to run with him, and I think that's what is kind of taking them out of the game.
Keith has caught 2 passes tonight as they're just short. It'll be 3rd down and that much. Chamorro has caught no passes tonight. And the big play to Keith Jackson early in the game.
There's the coverage by Ken Norton. And Jackson separates pretty quickly from Norton.
There they are.
But again, at the conclusion of that series, the 49er defense held, and Green Bay was forced to get just 3 points out of it on a Jackie field goal.
Interesting. 3rd and inches, and both tight ends are on the sideline, and they let Favre do it himself on a sneak, and he picks up the 1st down.
But that was 3rd and a full foot. 3rd and about 12 inches. But it's a pretty good ploy to spread it out like that. You take the leapers out of there. You spread the field, and you take a lot of those guys away from the formation that could come sailing across the stop.
Take the linebackers out of there that would be in the gap.
Yep.
1st down, Green Bay at the 43. 49ers lead by 3. 7:50 to play in the 4th quarter. Favre rolls. Beebe again. 8 catches for Don tonight. Ball is loose, but after the play is dead at the 48-yard line.
Once again, you just have to marvel at the arm of Brett Favre. Whipped that in there across his body and found his new favorite receiver, number 82, Don Beebe.
Sometimes I wonder if his receivers catch the ball or if they're impaled by the football.
They say it's very easy to catch. It has a lot of revolutions on it.
Beebe with 187 receiving yards, and Favre will try to do it himself again, stretching and reaching, and is close to a 1st down.
They're going to give it to him.
That's a busted play. That I can't believe that's what they intended to do. Brett just coming out and running.
I'll tell you, and he reached for it and he got it.
He makes a busted play look like a real play. If it's busted, he knows it at the initial instant. And away he goes.
Yeah, that's definitely a blow in the backfield. He had backs going different directions.
On the 49ers 47-yard line. 1st down.
1st and 10 at the 47-yard line. Out of a 2-back set now with Jackson on the left side, and Dorsey. Levens is taken down. Ankle tackle by Ken Norton. Good play by the middle linebacker. Ken Norton Jr., a member of championship teams in Dallas and in San Francisco.
He found his Pro Bowl as a 49er last year. Great quickness. Not all that big. Only about 240, but he is very, very quick and very athletic.
2nd and 10 at the 48. 6:10 remaining. Corner blitz. They pick it up nicely. Favre then throws, and he finds Freeman at the 40-yard line, and he rolls to the 39, where it'll be 3rd down and 2.
I'll tell you, when you're rolling on the ground and 46 is coming at you from the 49ers, it takes a lot of guts to continue to roll, because you know you're going to get hammered.
What a great job by Frank Winters, the center of the Packers, who comes all the way out after snapping the ball and picks off the blitz off the corner to give Favre that extra time. And Edgar Bennett heads to the Packer locker room.
Bennett out. We've seen Levens in the 2nd half. 3rd and a long 1 from the 39-yard line. Levens takes it to the 37. Should have it. 1st down.
Bennett is the 3rd starter on this Packer offensive team that's not in the ball game. Robert Brooks went out the first play of the game. Earl Dotson, their right tackle, injured his knee, and he's out of the ball game. And now Bennett in the locker room. So there's a lot of attrition taking place here on the Packer offensive team.
Levens, though, does play a lot in certain offensive sets. Was a starter a year ago, so you really don't lose a lot with him in there.
4:40 to go. 1st down at the 36-yard line. And Favre going deep for Freeman. Knocked away at the last moment by Tyrone Drakeford on a pass that hung. 2nd and 10.
It was so close. Freeman caught one of those a week ago against the Bears. That time Drakeford with good position.
I'd say his position was perfect.
And looking into the eyes of Freeman, when Freeman looks for the ball, he looks for the ball. Well done.
Drakeford replacing the departed Eric Davis, the Pro Bowler who opted to sign as a free agent with Carolina. 2nd down and 10 from the 36-yard line. And Favre has that one dropped by Freeman. It's the 3rd time he's dropped an easy pass tonight.
That's the one the Green Bay Packers don't call a pick. A little crossing route on the outside. Favre on the roll. Ooh, that's 3 now.
I would say that Antonio Freeman has reached the point where he's lost his confidence.
Well, they need not only a 1st down, but at least a little yardage here, because they're looking at a 54-yard field goal attempt if they don't gain anything on this play. And Favre throws, and they get the 1st down, and Freeman gets the confidence back.
Favre really had no place to go. He got to Freeman, and once again, absolutely a brilliant throw off balance and perfectly placed.
And I think Dorsey Levens, the back in there, did a super job picking up the 49er blitz. There's Levens, 25. Look at him pick up Tim McDonald. McDonald takes to the airwaves, and just another perfect pass. And Freeman finally held on.
But with the blitz, you also got your coverage of your wide receiver from the safety, Merton Hanks.
1st down to the 20. 4:26 remaining in the 4th. With the Niners leading by 3. Going for Freeman again, reaching, and it's incomplete. Drakeford with the coverage.
Drakeford is saying that he was fouled. He was interfered with. Falls on deaf ears. Well, Drakeford's in a good position all night long.
There was a bump there. You can see Drakeford's shoulder going into Freeman.
Well, Freeman grabbed Drakeford's arm also.
That's pretty much contact of the incidental variety. You know, these guys do have pads on.
2nd and 10, 4:22 left. Here's Dorsey Levens to the 17-yard line. Gary Plummer makes the tackle. 3rd down and 7. That's what they'd like somebody to do. The Packers love to celebrate by jumping into the 1st row.
They have bullseyes all around this stadium, especially down in the end zones where Robert Brooks, as we mentioned, started it off. There's the biggest.
3rd down, call it 8 now. 18-yard line. 3:47 left in the 4th.
Does Pete Carroll come after him?
3 receivers set to the left. Favre goes that way, almost picked off. Intended for Howard. Marquez Pope to break it up, and now Chris Jackie to come in to attempt what will be about a 35-yard field goal.
Strange in that situation. He goes to the guy who really doesn't have a lot of experience running plays from scrimmage here for the Packers, and Desmond Howard. And obviously Howard had not yet made his break when the ball's thrown by Favre, and a miscommunication almost cost him.
35-yarder for Jackie to try to tie the game. He's made them from 30 and from 25, and this one is good. And Green Bay has erased an 11-point halftime deficit. 3:35 left in the 4th quarter, and the Packers and the 49ers tied at 17.
Well, whatever the outcome, I think we have had a few questions answered about the Green Bay Packers. We said they have not played in a close game other than the one they lost to Minnesota. But they have come out here in the 2nd half. They were a very determined football team. They came back, and they've got this all knotted up.
And I think we're also seeing what happens when 2 very good football teams play one another. There's 2 good defensive teams. Again, you see how the Packers have dominated the 2nd half from a yardage standpoint, and over about 132 yards ahead of the 49ers overall.
That was
But these are two quality football teams duking it out.
49ers had taken total control of this game in the second quarter. And it was a question whether Green Bay was going to come back. And they did.
Hentrick kicks off. Dexter Carter from the 6. Swinging to the outside. Good run back and thrown out of bounds up at the 34-yard line by Tyrone Williams. Now, granted, it's only the middle of October, and you don't want to get ahead of yourself, but you're looking at two clearly elite teams in the NFC. And if they wind up with similar records this season, and they get to the NFC Championship game, you could be looking at where you're going to play it.
I know it's not too early to talk about that.
They made all vote on San Francisco for the NFC Championship game. Late January.
First down from the 34-yard line. Gerbach swinging it out, caught by Kirby, and he gets taken down from behind by George Kuntz up at the 39-yard line. And comes up shaking.
Yes, he is. Kirby, a couple of years ago, had a very severe knee injury. I'm not saying that's what it is, but he was out for a year, came back, and had a good year a year ago. And he is in pain.
I think Kuntz fell on the back of his leg. Watch if Kuntz doesn't fall. Right there. Oh, yeah, he rolls up his right ankle.
And he immediately grabs for it.
Yeah.
Kirby picked up from Miami when Jimmy Johnson decided to go with his particular offense. He found Kirby, who'd been pretty much a third down back, expendable. The 49ers brought him in initially as a third down back, but as of tonight, with Tommy Vardell looking on as the guy they're going to make into their featured back.
They continue to look at Kirby. I think they're looking at his knee.
And in his absence, we will see Derek Lavelle, the guy who took over last year and did a fairly decent job. And there he is, and he started this year as the starter. But one of those guys that the 49ers would always compliment and talk about his grit, but you always knew they were looking out of the corner of their eye to replace him.
He had over 700 yards rushing a year ago. He caught just under 90 passes.
There's a good sign. Kirby actually,
a real good sign.
Kirby jogging off.
Terry Kirby to the sidelines, and Lavelle in the game, and play ready to resume right now. Second down and 5 for the 49ers up at the 39-yard line. 3:19 left in the fourth. Game time at 17. Crowd in full throat. Swing pass, Lavelle. Tackled immediately at the 39-yard line by Kuntz.
So impressed with the play of both of these defensive teams here tonight. The coverage has been good. The tackling has been crisp. We've not seen a lot of blows. This has just, I think, been a really well-played defensive football team by both Pete Carroll's 49ers squad and Fritz Shermer's Green Bay team.
Third down, 5. 2:40 to play. Incomplete, forcing a punt. Intended for Rice. Doug Evans with the coverage.
Well, Evans is on that thing like he's inside the 49er huddle listening to the play.
Good defensive scheme. I think they were thinking they would go to Jerry Rice. Evans had good position because he knew he had deep help.
Evans makes a break on that football almost quicker than Jerry Rice.
49ers in this half, 5 possessions, every one of them ending with a punt. Tommy Thompson to kick it away. Desmond Howard pulls it in at the 14. Takes it back to the 19-yard line. Tackled there by Junior Bryant with 2:25 remaining in the fourth quarter.
Well, this is why you play the game if you're an offensive player. To get the ball in this situation, you have all of your timeouts remaining. You get a chance to get after it.
Bill Walsh, I think, walking the sidelines. Couldn't take it in the press box. He was up here for most of the game, is now on the sidelines.
How do you keep those juices from flowing?
First down, Green Bay. They have all of their timeouts plus the 2-minute warning. And Favre throws, and it's incomplete. He's trying to get it into Antonio Freeman, who was covered at that point by Lee Woodall. Second down.
And Favre had enough trouble trying to get away from Dana Stubblefield.
Yeah, Favre has had some drops tonight.
That's one of the reasons that Brett, and it's incredibly uncharacteristic for him to complete less than 50% of his passes. In fact, the only time in the last several years he completed less than 50% of his passes was in the monsoon Monday night game in Chicago 2 years ago, a game he still won. Second and 10, and that's picked off, intercepted by Marquez Pope, and the 49ers have a first down at the Green Bay 13-yard line.
We're talking about a good read. Pope, who had coverage, but he had double coverage, had deep man zone behind him. Well, he just read it perfectly.
But he's throwing it to a rookie, Derek Mays. And Frank, I want you to look at the route that Mays runs, and it's a real soft. Watch this route by Mays, Frank. Tell me what you think.
He does not go for the ball for one.
No, look at that. Now, Derek Mays, as a receiver, has got to make a better break to the inside than that.
Marquez Pope, who has to keep reading about how vulnerable he is.
Yeah, what's that? His fourth interception of the year.
In the last 5 games. A full take that from the 12-yard line. Derek Lavelle to the 11-yard line.
Well, when Marcus Pope came last year, he came as a safety, had been playing safety and was moved to the corner.
Meanwhile, Green Bay now wants to take its time out here. And then the clock will stop again at the 2-minute warning. They're already, in effect, conceding at least a field goal and figuring, okay, we're down by 3, and we'll conserve as much time as we can when we get the ball back.
And on that interception, we can go all the way back to the first play of the game when the Green Bay Packers lose Robert Brooks. I don't know that Derek Mays is a guy you wanted to have to go to in this situation.
Well, he was the read. You almost have to go with the read, and he did not follow his slant here, but it was played perfectly by Pope, who had coverage behind him. He was perfectly safe.
Here's Robert Brooks, the first play of the game. He got his right foot way out in front of him, strained his knee, and immediately we were told he wouldn't play tonight, so there's some severity to it. Sure, there'll be some tests tomorrow that'll give Mike Holmgren and this team a better example, a better idea rather, of how long it'll be.
Fritz Shermer sending out defensive instructions on second down and 10 from the 12-yard line. The clock will stop after this play for the 2-minute warning. It is Derek Lavelle. He takes it to the 10. When play resumes, it'll be 3rd and 7, and the 2-minute warning comes officially with 1:59 to play in the 4th. It's the 49ers 17 and the Packers 17. Third down and 8 now for the 49ers at the Green Bay 10-yard line. Jeff Wilkins ready to kick a field goal if necessary. He'd prefer an extra point, obviously.
I think we can count on that.
Yep. Third down, 8 from the 10. And they're just going to settle for a field goal attempt with Gerbach simply moving the ball to between the hash marks and setting up a Wilkins attempt. And now Green Bay will take a timeout here to conserve the clock. 1:54 remaining, and they have one timeout, which that's a most interesting and a very uncharacteristic 49er call right there.
That's a lot of time.
That is extremely conservative. That's extremely conservative by the by the 49ers with this much time remaining in the ball game. Just going right in between the two hash marks to give him a spot in the middle. That's you see that in college football, but there's going to be a lot of time.
The middle's not that big a deal anymore since they moved those hash marks in a few years ago. They could have run some seconds off that clock very easily.
I'm sure I'm not tempted to loft one into the corner of the end zone or let Jerry go up for it. Or you got J.J. Stokes, a huge receiver on the other side at 6'4".
Instead, they're going to opt for a three-point attempt. Gerbach to hold. Wilkins from this range has been perfect in his NFL career.
Of course, nobody ever retires perfect.
No. 28-yard attempt. Straight through.
So the drama thickens.
There's some football left to be played here at Lambeau.
A minute 50 and one timeout at the Packers' disposal.
And the ever dangerous Don Beebe on the receiving end of this kickoff.
Having a career night.
And ran one back 90 yards last week against the Bears. Looks like a pitching wedge mowing right through that grass.
So the 49ers go up by 3. They go home after the game and then have Cincinnati next week in San Francisco. Then they go to Houston and to New Orleans. So a relatively soft schedule until they meet Dallas on the 10th of November. And again, Steve Young not playing tonight. 3rd week in a row he's been off with the groin injury. And if they can come into Green Bay against the hottest team in the league on the road on a Monday night and without Steve Young and win the game.
The Packers
49ers.
Packers have a bye next week. Holmgren gets on his Harley and goes.
Kickoff taken at the goal line by Don Beebe. And the 49ers with terrific coverage, but somehow Beebe with a Houdiniac takes it out to the 18-yard line. Nolan Cromwell, the special teams coach, watched Beebe break a Curtis Buckley tackle and take it at least from the 10 out to the 18 to give them some space.
There's an appropriate piece of music on the stadium PA. Hi-O Silver is exactly what they need.
A great setting.
The William Tell Overture.
Ball on the 18.
But you guys knew that, didn't you?
Absolutely.
I just wasn't going to tell.
See that apple on top of Frank's head from the 18-yard line. This is Henderson making the catch over the middle up to the 25. Again, the Packers have only one timeout at their disposal. 2nd and 2 at the 25. Barr throws over the middle and hits the tight end, but it's dropped by Keith Jackson up at the 39-yard line. Flag is down at the 29. And Jerry Markbright.
Illegal hands to the face. Number 31, defense. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Steve Israel.
It's not that terrible a penalty.
We have an unsportsmanlike conduct foul on number 39, 15 yards.
That is.
5-yard penalty, and he's disqualified.
Whoa! Oh, that's a terrible penalty. And he said, Jerry said 39.
There is no 39.
There is no 39.
I think he might have meant
31. He might have meant Israel.
The 5-yarder was not that big. That's colossal.
I did not see him push an official. It obviously has something to do what he said to the official.
Well, Jerry will come back on here, I would assume.
Both penalties will be enforced.
Whoa, that's
That
20
is big
yards.
time.
20 yards of penalties. and one of your dime backs in a dime back situation is thrown out of the game. They move it up to the 45-yard line. First and 10 at the 45. And it's hauled in by who else? Don Beebe.
Boy, how do you...
I don't know, but Beebe's having a career night.
Sure is.
I don't have all the Buffalo stats. He had some great nights and great days with Buffalo, but this is truly remarkable performance by Don Beebe.
198 receiving yards for Beebe tonight.
Beebe not all that tall, 5'11", but he has that great speed. You have to respect it.
First down, 44-yard line. San Francisco leading by 3. Favre directing traffic and throws, and it is caught at the 36-yard line. It's Don Beebe again.
What a gun.
Beebe catches a Beebe.
And a Beebe it was. Again, it's beautiful to watch. Brett Favre in motion, directing traffic, but when he releases it, boy, that's beautiful.
Almost a flick of the wrist, isn't it? With so much on it. And a super catch by Beebe, because that was smoking.
He gains 9.5 second and inches. Beebe up and over 200 yards tonight from the 35.
Are the 49ers coming? Yep.
They give it to Levis. He gets the first down. He takes it to the 33. So right now they're looking at a 50-yard field goal if they don't get another yard.
Boy, that one came close to blinking all the way. You get caught in the blitz, and you get that quick pop. So close.
Chris Jackie, who's been efficient from 50 yards in his career, and he's looking at a 50-yarder if they don't gain another yard, but they do gain some here as Desmond Howard makes the catch at the 25-yard line. Now you're looking at a 42-yard field goal. There's Jackie.
He stops the clock.
And this is a good catch by Howard here, because this ball's back behind him a little bit. He's got to make the adjustment on this football, and does. Watch Desmond Howard here. He's going to make his break to the sideline, wanting the ball in front of him, but it's back behind him. He's got to rotate around and hold on to the football and slide out of bounds.
Yeah, and I think that was Frankie Smith in there where Steve Israel should have been.
Second down, 2 at the 25-yard line.
They got to watch out for holding calls here.
Favre stepping up, has the first down. Hold down at the 14 and says, give me a timeout.
Plays it like a linebacker, doesn't he? He's no hook sliding for Favre. He was looking for the end zone.
Yep.
And Mike Holmgren going to the play sheet. What do I have for a situation like this? Because right now he's got to be thinking about getting into the end zone. I don't think that he's going to settle for a field goal to tie this up. They're going to take a shot or two at the end zone.
Packers have just used their final timeout. 30 seconds remaining in the fourth.
And here was the quarterback that was nearly whacked out of the game in the first half. We thought he might have been gone for the night. Looked dazed, came back in.
That was Ken Norton.
Quite a show.
That was Ken Norton that got all the way down there and put the hit on him. Well, this game started off a little sloppily in the beginning. Was not sharply played by either team, but boy, they're finishing this thing up like the heavyweights they are.
Pack out of timeouts, first down. Walsh, who's watched the entire game from upstairs on the field in the waning moments. First and 10 from the 13. Favre in traffic, tries to throw it away and does. Tamura says, I was held. The official said you weren't.
And Brett Favre is still down on the ground, and he looks like he's hurt.
And
apparently falling on his right elbow, and if he needs an injury timeout here, he'll have to come out of the game. And Jim McMahon, so sparingly used in the last 2 seasons will have to come in.
Again, he takes a shot to the face and then is just hammered right into the turf.
Oh, he might have had the wind knocked out of him. He landed heavily with no chance of protecting himself.
But he's going to have to stay. He will stay in the game with the play clock down to 5. And on 2nd and 10, Favre throws, and that's incomplete with 17 seconds remaining. So now you're in a position, you've got a 3rd down, and if you throw underneath and can't stop the clock, you run the risk of not being able to kick a game-winning field goal or a game-tying field goal at this point.
And they will not do that.
No, because they can't run their field goal team out in time.
No.
So if there's no stoppage of the clock,
the other disaster is a sack.
He has no choice but to loft this into the end zone. And of course, that's fraught with peril.
Yep.
The 49ers realize it.
He will be careful with it.
3rd down and 10. Levin's in motion. And Favre throws, nobody home except the band, and so Jackie will come in to try to tie it and send it into overtime.
They could have really used the timeout left in that situation. Being out really handicapped them on 3rd down. And Brett Favre showed more than a small measure of toughness staying in there after taking that shot, being driven into the ground hard.
Now the 49ers will take a timeout as Chris Jackie gets set to kick what will be a game-tying 32-yard field goal.
Well, it was a pretty decent drive by the Packers, but the 20 yards plus the stoppage of the clock, courtesy of Steve Israel and his penalties and ejection, really helped a lot.
Craig Hendrick will hold it. Frank Winters will snap. And it will be a 31-yard attempt.
Yes, sir.
And with 8 seconds remaining, we're tied again.
Well, we talked about it when San Francisco didn't take a shot at the end zone and was very quick to settle for a field goal that would give them a 3-point lead, knowing there was 1 minute and 55 seconds left for the Green Bay Packers. This is what could have happened to them and did. They got tied.
There's Steve Israel. He provoked that additional 15 yards and was ejected from the game.
I'm surprised he's still on the bench. Normally when a player is ejected from a game, he has to leave the field. Maybe number 39 left the field. Jerry Markbright originally called number 39. There is no such player on the 49er roster.
Which is probably why Israel is still on the bench.
Yes, sir.
Hendrick to kick it off. The clock starts when a 49er touches it. Right there. Dropped and picked up by Derek Deese, and he takes it up to the 33-yard line. So the 49ers have time for one more play. In all probability, a kneel down. And then the next critical call will be by the 49ers, heads or tails.
And that so often is the critical call. Very, very quiet night, no wind.
So we've played 60 minutes, and the two heavyweights of the NFC are dead even.
And what is a very long game is about to get longer.
Back with overtime after this message and a word from our ABC stations. The 49ers won the toss for overtime, so they will receive crowd standing Craig Hendrick to kick and Dexter Carter to run it back. So here we go, overtime in Green Bay. Carter from the goal line. Back up to the 22-yard line. Roderick Mullen makes the tackle. In overtime, first team to score wins. It's sudden death. They can play a maximum of 15 minutes. And each team has 2 timeouts.
And by and large in overtime, you're only allowed 1 mistake. Normally the first mistake ends up costing you the ball game.
This is the 6th overtime game of the season in the National Football League. The previous 5 have been determined by field goals. From the 23, a busted play, and Anthony Lynn takes the handoff and brings it out to the 24. So an ignominious beginning to the OT for the 49ers, but they get away with it. Second down, 9 from the 24-yard line. Terry Kirby back in the game. He was shaken in the 4th quarter. He takes the swing pass and is tackled immediately up at the 25, setting up a 3rd down, and a Butler and Williams in on the tackle.
Boy, and Elvis gets planted by Reggie White.
I think what the Green Bay defense has just about taken Jerry Rice and J.J. Stokes out of this game here in the second half. Quarterback has looked to them, but they've been drawn double coverage. Somehow they've been able to do it and get away with it.
I think by and large, guys, the coverage that we've seen from both teams' secondaries has really been good. Been good stuff.
3rd down, 7 from the 25-yard line. 4-man rush. Gerback floats one. A pass that is incomplete. Juggled at the 34-yard line. Stokes never had control of it, then went out of bounds. 4th down.
And he had it dropped right on his hands. A good throw by Elvis Gerback. Just not able to pull it in. Gerback put it where he had to, outside. Can't be picked off there. Stokes not able to control it.
Stokes hasn't caught a pass in 2 games.
He was thinking about staying in bounds, not concentrating enough on the ball. The ball just on his fingertips.
Stokes shut out tonight, and Rice, after a tremendous first half, only 1 catch in the second. Tommy Thompson to punt it. Desmond Howard to run it back. Short kick. Fair catch called for at the 44. So the Packers will start near midfield.
And that punt was really close to being blocked, wasn't it?
Yep, by Eugene Robinson.
Yep.
He thought he had it.
That was Gerback's reaction on the Stokes pass. And here's the near block by Robinson.
The snap was to the right and took Thompson to the right, and Thompson ends up kicking it almost right into the hands of Eugene Robinson. And oh, how close he came to getting that.
He did. I think he was also concerned, Dan, of rough running into him, whether he was going to get it or not. He went to the side instead of straight through the foot.
First down from the 44-yard line, and the pass is incomplete, and they got away with one there. Beebe going one way and the pass going the other. Coverage by Drakeford.
Where they got lucky there is that Drakeford was playing Beebe, not the football. He didn't see the ball.
You were so right. Again, a timing pattern, and you can't suspect that maybe the Beebe and Favre have worked on all of these things as much as certainly he would have worked with Robert Brooks, who was injured early in the game and had to leave.
Drakeford never saw the football. If he could have seen it and reacted to it, he might have got it.
2nd and 10 at the 44-yard line. Freeman in motion. They keep it on the ground. It's Levens to the 47. Setting up a 3rd down and 7. We played 1 minute and 50 seconds of overtime.
Chris Jackie, the field goal kicker for Green Bay, has a career best of 54 yards, but again, that was indoors against Detroit.
Well, here we have a 3rd and long. What are the odds of Brett Favre being on the move here, trying to make something happen?
3rd down and 7. He's going to drop straight back and find the open man. Beebe over the middle. 1st down at the 40-yard line.
I mean, this is a game of a lifetime for Don Beebe. With a little move, he had man coverage by Drakeford, who's done a good job on him for the most part tonight. Beebe came right into his face, giving him a little look to the outside. He'll look over his right shoulder, freezes Drakeford. He goes with it, steps to the inside, and he's wide open.
3rd biggest night in Packer receiving history for Beebe. 220 yards, 11 catches. Short flip, 4-yard gain. Ball caught by Derek Mays. Chris Jackie, and it figures to be up to him shortly. At least right now they are headed in that direction. If they don't gain another yard, he'd have an opportunity from 52 yards. 2nd down and 5. Meanwhile, Favre closing in on 400. Brett has thrown for 395 in the game. Off balance, and lucky it wasn't picked off by Pope after Norton buries him.
That was a well-executed blitz by the 49ers. As Pete Carroll is wont to do, he will come after you. And Brett Favre took a shot, and that ball had nothing on it. It floated down there, and Pope just not quite able to get to it. You can see Norton actually makes contact with Favre. He can't follow through. And Pope just has it bounce off his left forearm.
Favre's 60th pass of the night, a Green Bay record. 3rd and 5 from the 35.
Blitz again.
Favre on the run. Being chased, throws, incomplete. So now if they want to bring Jackie in, you're looking at a 53-yard field goal attempt.
Again, his best was 54 yards, but it was off artificial surface. This is natural grass. You tend to lose a little with that.
50+ in his career, 2nd best percentage in NFL history.
The wind doesn't seem to be much of a factor. The ribbons on the goalpost barely moving.
53 yards to win the game. Hendrick puts it down.
Oh, yes.
The kick long enough and good.
That was good for 60.
Frank, your initial analysis, I have to agree with. This might have been good from 60.
It's still going up.
Yep. That did not just barely clear the crossbar.
The Packers dominate the 1st quarter. The 49ers dominate the 2nd quarter. Green Bay erases an 11-point deficit to tie it at the end of regulation. And they win it in OT on a 53-yard field goal by Chris Jackie. Longest field goal ever to win an overtime game.
Always happens on Monday night, doesn't it?
Yes.
Always
Big build-up,
different.
hell of a game.
2 heavyweights. You said that earlier, Al. That's so true. They'll be there in the playoffs.
Well, they'll be there in the playoffs. There's no doubt about that for each of these teams. Will they be here for the NFC Championship game? Tonight, 29 points officially scored in the red zone. If this score matches the number under your Coke bottle cap or can tab, then you could be a winner. Send to the address showing. So the Packers win it in OT. 23-20. Next week will be in San Diego, where the Chargers host the Raiders. Until then, Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Dierdorf, Lynn Swan saying good night from ecstatic Green Bay.
WISN TV Milwaukee. Right now, live, local, late breaking. This is the Channel 12 News.
Barely moving, 53 yards to win the game. Hendrick puts it down.
Oh, yes.
The kick long enough and good.
That was good for 6.
It's official. Nothing is impossible. The kick heard round the world.
Hey, and number 13 is a lucky number tonight. Chris Jackie manages to destroy our scripts. We get to go with a win tonight. That is absolutely remarkable.
What a great night. Turned me into a fan. Well, Dan Needles is here. I just became an absolute convert. Got the tie and the whole thing. What a great ball game.
It was? Oh,
Yes.
I must have missed it.
Well, we can tell you all
seemed
about it
like
now.
it was boring for a while. How about those Packers? A script you could not have written any better. I guess reports of the 49ers' demise may be a bit premature, but the Packers pull it out in the end. Let's go to the highlights. The 49ers picked apart the Green Bay defense in the second quarter, rallying from 6-0 down to take a 17-16 halftime lead. A pair of TD passes from Elvis Gerbach to Jerry Rice. Back came the Packers in the third quarter, a very controversial play. Brett Favre to Don Beebe. Did he make the catch? Maybe not. Did Marquez Pope touch him? Yes, he did. Should have been ruled down, but Beebe gets up, takes it all the way in for a touchdown. Don Beebe with a career-best night. The Packers needed every yard. They go to overtime, tied at 20. We'll see this over and over again. Chris Jackie, 54-yard field goal, the longest ever to win an overtime game in NFL history. 23-20. The Packers win it. They go to the bye week with a 6-1 record in first place in the Central. Tom Sutton kicking off our live team coverage now from jubilant Lambeau Field. Tom?
Dan, you can probably tell right now, you can hear in the background, nobody has left this stadium. It is absolutely bedlam. What an absolutely fantastic game. You didn't expect a boring one, did you? The schedule makers had this one picked out a long, long time ago. It's been the premier game so far of the National Football League. It lived up to its billing. I think both teams probably come off the field feeling that they have vindicated themselves somewhat. The Packers with a brilliant comeback after it looked like a pass interception by Brett Favre was going to give the game to San Francisco. San Francisco played well. They got a couple of calls that went against them. A controversial touchdown by Don Beebe. They didn't have their starting quarterback in Steve Young, but they played some excellent football. I'm telling you right now, there's not a soul that has left this stadium. They are doing absolutely what they want to do, relish in a victory, an overtime victory over the San Francisco 49ers. We will, of course, will be going live to the locker room where Mike Holmgren, Reggie White, and Brett Favre will be talking at that particular point. But right now, let's go to David Davis. And David, you had a chance to see this game. Pretty exciting, right?
I have never seen anything in my life. Have I seen anything like this? It just doesn't get any better than this.
No empty seats yet.
No, the noise was just unbelievable when this thing ended. And it's been like that since, I don't know, about noon today. They've been going like this.
I was going to say, the fans probably picked it up around noon, 1 o'clock, and I think it's going to be about noon or 1 o'clock tomorrow before they finally come down. What a great game.
Yeah, it is. It has been unbelievable. We talked to some fans prior to the game, just before the game, even a little Hollywood thrown in.
Acclaimed director Spike Lee at Lambeau Field, here with a film crew working on a documentary about the church burnings in the South. His primary focus, of course, Reggie White. The pregame hype was everywhere, and the kids were eating it up.
You know, being a 8-, 9-year-old on a Monday night football game, you know, this is like maybe a possible NFC championship game premiere. You know, it's a special thing.
And then, of course, you have your end zone target squad ready for any action that comes their way.
Whoever wants to jump here, hey, cool. Let them jump here. Yeah. Let them jump.
Are these the best tickets in the house?
I think so. We think so. Most definitely.
Anybody in particular you want to see jump up here?
Yeah. Mark Shimura. Mark Shimura backwards.
All right, well, what you're listening to and seeing right now is the Wisconsin band, and why don't we just listen in a few seconds? It's part of the excitement here. It's been, they played at halftime and playing again. And believe me, they have said it all here tonight. Now, we've got some pictures we also want to show you. Let's check out some cool views from Chopper 12 a little bit earlier tonight as it battled high above Lambeau Field with the Goodyear blimp for the best view of the game. You can see over that Pilot Todd got right in the middle of the action, closely checking out the sights on the field. Now, talking about tickets prior to the game, were they 200, 400? I mean, there are all sorts of talk that the prices were high. Kent Wainscott checked it out right before game time.
Well, I'll tell you what, outside the stadium here, it is illegal to scalp these tickets. You can't sell them for more than face value, but that's in Green Bay, not here, right across the street. Check this out. Ashwaubenon Packer ticket resale area, otherwise known as Scalpers Alley, a half-block area here where folks can legally scalp tickets just a few hours before game time. These tickets belong to this young man right here. Tell me your name.
David Allen.
And you're from where?
Green Bay.
How much you want for those tickets?
$325 for the pair.
$325 for the pair. You think you're going to get it?
Maybe.
All right, let's find out a little bit about this. Tell me your name.
My name is Officer Scott Schermitzler with Ashwaubenon Public Safety.
Tell me a little bit about what we're seeing right here.
Well, basically what we did is we set it up a resale ticket zone, keep scalpers in an area where we can control them.
Folks out here who are selling tickets think they can get top dollar for tickets, have been selling for up to 10 times face value, but the ticket price may drop as kickoff approaches.
They already have dropped.
Just wanted to show you another shot of the crowd. What's it been, 15 minutes since that winning field goal? And as Tom mentioned a few moments ago, no one has left. Now, Kent said by game time, there were quite a few tickets actually on hand right before game time, and he said you could even get them for, if not face value, just over face value. So kind of interesting on the ticket situation in games of the future, because this one you could almost get them for face value right before the game. The Wisconsin band still doing its thing, and I'm sure we'll be back over the next hour, and these fans will still be here. We've got a lot more coverage of post-game interviews as it becomes available, and we'll get back to you with that. Kathy?
All right, thanks a lot, Dave and Tom, and to all the fans that are still out there. That's fantastic. We are going to go back to Green Bay for all of the coach and player post-game reaction as it is happening tonight through this newscast.
Well, across the state, across Wisconsin, and thanks to ABC all over the country, TV sets were tuned to Monday Night Football. Packer fans pretty creative when it comes to their parties, at least in these parts. Shane Hamden is here on the party beat.
That's right, and a big win like tonight's deserves a big screen TV. We discovered the big screen is becoming a trend, and then when you take it outside, it's big fun.
I think we want to hear from the coach, don't you think? Mike Holmgren is talking to some folks tonight about tonight's big game. Mike.
Bennett, shoulder strain. Dotson, ankle sprain. And then the rest of it is Brett's real beat up. Reggie's head's okay. And that was about it. But, yeah, it was a good thing. Little guy can play, can he? I mean, what a great effort tonight. And we needed it because we lose Robert on the first play. And then Desmond Howard was a big factor tonight as well. But Don Beebe came through big tonight.
Mike, when Robert went down, you gathered the receivers around you and fought in the room. It looked like Don stopped you and was saying something extra to you, or was there anything particular to that?
Well, no, he was explaining. The first chance I called a play, and they lined up. We lined up incorrectly. And that was just one play during the week that had been a special play that we worked on where we had changed their assignments. And so they were thrown in there early, and we made a mistake. And so I wanted to have someone explain to me what happened. And so Don was explaining what happened.
Mike, early in the game, passed up the 51-yarder, but then took a shot at the 53-yarder. Gutsy call.
I thought early in the game our defense was really in control. There were a couple of situations there that looked bad because of that, and then we kicked the punt into the end zone again, and those types of things. And then I went for it one time, which is a little uncharacteristic for me. So there was a number of situations like that in this game that didn't really work out the way I had hoped they would, but it's a credit to the football team. They battled and they hung in there, and I didn't have a choice. So we were going to kick the last one and give it a whirl, you know.
Were you surprised that they didn't take a shot in the end zone down there after they got that turnover in regulation?
I don't remember exactly how much time was left, but no, they were playing for the field goal. It made sense, and their defense was playing well. We were struggling a little bit offensively. They were playing the percentages, I think, and then that was a solid way to approach that.
You guys took your 3 shots down there. Gutsy, I mean, if Brett gets sacked, it's probably over.
Well, I thought maybe on the last one, but he was under specific, and you know he always does exactly what I ask him to do. But, you know, we talked about the situation. He knew he couldn't get sacked. He knew he had to throw the ball into the end zone, and we talk about that and practice that. San Francisco did a nice job in the red zone, and in that situation, their defense was really very good.
Mike, what's that emotion? You're walking off, you beat the 49ers, probably one of the more classic battles ever staged here. The crowd's going nuts as you run off.
Well, obviously, it's a great win for the team, for our fans. You know, it had all the drama that you'd want in Monday Night Football in Green Bay. Maybe now we'll get a couple more next year, I hope. It was just one of those great games. I'm rather drained right now.
Do you feel comfortable with Brett Favre throwing the ball 60 times?
How many times did he throw it? No, that's too many times, really. I didn't know that. I had no idea it was 60 times, but that's too many times. But we won the football game. So typically, if we can throw the ball 35 times, then that works out pretty good for us. This was an unusual game, I think, for both teams tonight.
Okay, you just heard from the coach. You watched the game. You're all fired up, and you got to talk about it. Steve, the Homer True, has something just for you this Monday night.
That's right. I waved my Packer flag, though, first. Yes, the story this year, in addition to the Packer team, has been the Packer fans, and we're going to give you a chance to tell us what you thought about the game. And we'll be doing that at the completion of the news. Packer Talk Back. I'll be back along with Dan Needles and former Packer Ken Still. So your chance to talk about the game, and who knows, maybe we'll be here all night long.
Guess who here gets overtime? No, just kidding. Well, let's talk about tomorrow's forecast now. Chief Meteorologist Mark Strell is in the Weather Center.
Hey, how about those Packers? Here's your forecast. For tonight, we have cloudy skies, overnight low temperatures not far from where they are now, down to around 49 degrees. Tomorrow, we'll start out with clouds, but see some sunshine by the afternoon. Temperatures look pretty good, and 67 should be our high temperature. Let's look at your forecast. It goes downhill towards the end of the week. I'll tell you more about that. And I'm sure we'll hear more about the Packers coming up, too.
Great idea. There is, after all, like sort of a heat island in Green Bay. Let's go look at it again. Okay, there's just, look at that. I mean, why would you leave? You got the flavor of the moment, and they're going to savor it. You certainly can't blame them for that. Look at that. Everybody is still there. And they're having, what do you call it, like a fifth quarter of the Wisconsin band down.
I think they're into the sixth quarter now.
Probably so.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there is other news. A date has been set to break ground on the Brewers' new stadium.
Details of that as the news continues. We're going to take a look at the new design and hear about all the new additions.
Plus, it's a girl for...